have here something very important. We have here something that I just know is going to be important to me. We have here 3 50-50 raffle tickets. Now, why are these so special? Well, they're special because I just feel down in my heart, these are going to be the lucky ones. That's why I got 3 of them. I can't lose. I just feel it. I got faith. This is going to come to me. Deep down, I do believe. Well, in our gospel that we just heard, Jesus is talking about faith. And of course, it's a faith that's a lot different than the faith in my 50-50 tickets. It's a deep faith, and it's a faith that's important. It's the faith of all of us. Now, the apostles asked Jesus, increase our faith. Give us more faith. Maybe we've asked God for that, Maybe, God, increase my faith. Jesus says to them, if you had faith the size of a small seed, you could tell a large tree, be uprooted and planted in the sea, and it would happen. Then he goes on to talk to them about gratitude to God and doing what's expected of us. Gratitude to God. He says, my followers should be like workers getting paid. They're only doing what they're supposed to do. This is what's expected of us. Now, we know that faith is a gift, but it seems that some people seem to have been given more of that than we have. Some people seem to have so much more faith than we do. And probably we can think of some people that we know that, they seem to have so much faith. Wish I had it. I can think of my grandmother. My grandmother, right on through all her life, she just never gave up on God. And I bet maybe you have your family or people like that, You look and you say, wow, that generation, they had the faith I wish I had, right? But what Jesus is saying, he's saying, keep going with the faith that you do have, and don't worry about the faith you don't have. That's what he's talking about with that mustard seed, that little seed, the size of faith. Just use the faith we have, and don't worry. Let God deal with the rest of it. Let God deal with the rest of the faith. Use the faith we have, and that's what's important. Maybe an example will help. The other day I was visiting the mother of a family in the hospital, and she is suffering from a very serious illness. And she was telling me about how she had rushed to the hospital unconscious. She said, but I know God was watching out for me. Said, yeah, it's been a tough couple of weeks. And I wouldn't have made it if I didn't know God was there for me. that God was watching over me. I feel that I'm special to God, and that's what gives me the strength to keep going so that I can get up each morning and kiss my kids. Now, that's a very ordinary woman, and probably with pretty ordinary faith. But she's using that ordinary faith of hers to do extraordinary things. She uses her ordinary faith to do what's extraordinary. And that's what Jesus is talking about, using the faith that we have. Then he goes on to talk about gratitude to God and doing what's expected of us. He's saying, remember the example about the workers. He's saying we can't expect any special reward for doing what's expected of us. And what does God expect? Well, for most of us, God expects us to forgive one another and do what we can to help those around us. But we can't expect any particular reward right now for doing that. We're doing what God expects of us to do, what we're supposed to do. I think the problem comes that we have trouble remembering that God's doing us the favor, right? God's doing us the favor, offering us everlasting life. We're not doing God the favor by just doing what we're asked to do. And that's why sometimes we have trouble when we expect to be rewarded in this life for doing what we're supposed to do. Now, let's give ourselves a little test, okay? Just to give a little bit of a test. Everybody up for a test today? Nice cloudy day, we haven't got anything else to do. Let's take a test. Okay, now don't worry about it. Don't worry, because it's you don't have to show hands or anything. But our little test might be about seeing if we, deep down in our hearts, really expect a reward for doing what we're asked to do, what we're supposed to do. Let's see how we do on the test. Now, what if we hold a door for somebody? Someone's coming in behind us, right? We hold the door. We expect that person to say thank you? Well, if so, fine. We can't always expect it, can we? And what if we let somebody in the grocery line ahead of us? Huh? We have a lot of stuff and somebody else just has a few things. If we let that person in ahead of us, huh? Do we expect them to really say thank you to us for that? And what if they don't? How do we feel? Well, since we're doing so well with that test, let's get on to the tough part. And that involves the automobile. Okay? That's always tricky. Now, try this one. I think that this summer, every road, street, sidewalk in the whole area has been under construction, right? Everywhere you go. What do we see? Where is the sign? Right lane closed ahead. Left lane closed ahead. All lanes closed ahead. And it's all happening about 500 feet in front of you, right? Surprise! Well, the lane's going to end, okay? Do we let that person next to us into our lane, even though we got there first? Do we let that person in? And if so, well, if the person kind of gives us a little wave of thank you, fine. But when it doesn't happen, how do I feel? Right? Do I really down in there expect a reward now? Well, this is just a little reminder of saying, no, wait a minute. This is what Jesus is talking about. Hey, don't expect any reward in this life for doing what's expected of us. Just doing what's expected of us. So, as we go on now to share in the body and blood of Christ, let's ask our God for the help we need. First of all, the help we need to use the faith we have. And secondly, to serve the needs around us without expecting any reward.